I'm leaving Japan. I've come here in July of 2016, almost 7 years ago. Back then, I had never lived abroad, I had no children, and I had just married. And all of that has changed now. I guess I have arrived to some extent in the adult life. I think my time here can be split up into 3 phases. They're all related to location, and the first location was this city, Nagano. I came here because my wife lived here. She's from this area, and we moved into a small 2 LDK, that means 2 rooms and living, dining, kitchen area apartment with about 55 square meters. It was, I must say, probably the loneliest time in my life. As I mentioned, I came in July, and in September I started this YouTube channel. Originally I wanted to start with an apartment tour because I thought that's a popular topic. Welcome to my house. However, my wife quickly told me off and said, privacy, we don't talk about that. So then I thought, I was a little bit angry, and then eventually I asked her, well then, can I at least film our toilet? And that's why How to Survive in Japanese Toilets was my very first video on this channel. When I wasn't somewhere shooting videos, I worked from home most of the time. Later that year my son was born, a lot of things changed again, and I had to look at myself in ways that I hadn't even thought about before. Then, in the end of 2017, in October, I got an offer from a company in Tokyo, and so we moved to the Tokyo area. That was in December 2017. We lived in Yokohama then, which was not so far from where I worked. I worked in Roppongi, one of the busier, more expensive areas of Tokyo, and lived in Yokohama just on the edge, so that it took me about 30 minutes from the station closest to my house to the station closest to my work, Roppongi Station. There I felt much more integrated because I was able to speak to people. I was also very busy. I had work, of course, was very busy there. I had a child. I learned Japanese as much as I could. And of course I also wanted to make videos. The latter one in the end turned out to be not so easy. If you scroll back, then you can see that in all of 2018 I only released 6 videos, and that's why. Which in hindsight was a bit of a shame, because in the beginning of the year the channel started to take off a bit, and had I continued probably I would have had some nice momentum, but it is as it is. I continued working for this company through 2018, 2019. In 2019 we moved office to another place closer to the bay, and then of course, as you all know, Corona happened. When it started, my wife and children went to Nagano City, because that's where her family is, where her mother lives. And after 2 weeks I was planned to come there as well for 1 week only. This then turned out to be not 1 week but 2.5 months. So my family in total stayed here for 3 months and I for 2.5, which was a fantastic time. Working from remote only, taking a lot of walks, exploring Nagano in ways I hadn't more freely, was fantastic. And when we came back then to Yokohama in the beginning of June 2020, everything felt a bit off. I arrived and went to the supermarket, and I had to queue up outside, which was something that never happened here in Nagano. Also here, because there are not that many people, it's very wide in comparison to Yokohama, Tokyo and this area, where it's much more dense. It all felt very, very cramped. Our apartment, 55 square meters, the same size we had in Nagano, lots of stuff. The 4 of us in there, now we had 2 children, that was not fun at all. And then of course so many people around us if you go outside, so essentially at that time you didn't want to do that at all. And if you did, you had to wear masks and all that. So that was not really fun. In August then, we came here again, 2 weeks of holiday. And I also worked some time from here, from Nagano. And back then my boss asked me, so you're moving or what? And I was like, what? Moving to Nagano? Can I do that? And he informed me that he had already talked to the executives and they said, yeah, sure, okay. And that's then what we did. We looked for a house, we found a very nice one with things you don't usually get in Japan, such as a dishwasher and floor heating. We agreed on everything and set up to sign the contracts on a Friday, 2 days before we went back to Yokohama. However, the day before that, the landlord decided that he wanted to use the house himself. Usually this is a no-go in Japan, but since he was a higher-up person at the company that builds these kind of houses, he got away with it, and we unfortunately, ended up not having a house. We took this one day we still had before going back to look at one or two other options, but they were all totally not okay. So we came back to Yokohama, discouraged and thinking that maybe, after all, we will not move to Nagano. Then, however, we found a house, this house, on an online webpage and asked the real estate agents to show it to us. So my mother-in-law and sister-in-law came here with their phones, we had a video call and showed us the house, and we decided we wanted to take it. We lived not so far from here previously, so we knew the area already. I knew how far it was to the station, how long it would take me from here to my office in Tokyo. And then in October 2020 we moved to Nagano, to a house we had never seen before in real life, and thankfully it turned out to be okay. Quick side note, we haven't had a house tour of this place because of privacy again, but there will be one once we move out. This was then the third chapter, Nagano City, and for me it was the best chapter. I think I can say that. I went to Tokyo every now and then, at some point once a week, to the office to talk to my team. Then in May last year I left my job to become self-employed. I still went to Tokyo regularly to teach and take Aikido classes. Aikido is a Japanese martial art. And also through that I had a little bit of me time where I could just go by myself to Tokyo, stay at the cheapest possible accommodation, eat the cheapest possible food and so on, to keep costs low, but still time for myself and lots of fun in my opinion. Of course, in the off time I worked also from Tokyo, then came back here, continued working from this area, from Nagano City. And in August last year we went to Germany, where I'm from, my whole family and I. And this was actually to test and see if we as a family would like it there. I've lived in Germany for 29 years before, but never with my family. And in the end, we concluded that it was a nice vacation, but of course, living somewhere, working there, being engaged in the community and all that, and going there on vacation are two very different things. Just as many people say that Japan is nice if you visit, but a mixed bag if you have to live and work here. Still, we sat down and decided that the only way to find out if it's a good decision to go there or not would be if we did it. And that's what we will. For the timing, my older one is 6 years now. That means he's just finished kindergarten, and my younger one is 3, which means she would start kindergarten now. That means in Japan from April schools and kindergartens start. In my part of Germany it's from September. By doing that we give our children about 5 months to get used to the new environment, new culture, the language, interactions with the people there, and so on before the school and kindergarten start. And that's one of the big reasons. Another big one is my family. I love them dearly and I want to be close to them again. It has been almost 7 years, so it's about time to go back there and make up for the time we haven't had together. There are of course other reasons, such as friends, which I'm also looking forward to very much, work-life balance, gender equality and others. But I think the big ones are we want to see what it is for us as a family in Germany and being close to my family. If you're still waiting for me to reveal the clickbait, the April Fools, well, it's actually April 3rd now, so it's not coming. What happens to this channel? I haven't decided yet. I think I will continue making videos. Probably I will do some experiments to see what I enjoy and what works. You will not see me walking around and showing you parts of Japan as I have been doing sometimes before. Obviously, I will still come to Japan every now and then. Then you might see something. Depends just on where this channel is then. If you have any idea what kind of perspective you would like to see going forward, then let me know. Currently I'm considering talking head stuff like this, stories about Japan, what I've experienced, what others have experienced and so on, guides and all that. Another consideration is more acting-like, so reenacting situations. And a third option would be to have more animations, so maybe like kurz gesagt, in a nutshell kind of channel. I'm not decided on any of that. As I said, I might experiment a little bit. You can add your opinions in the comments below, feel free to do that. Well, about these here, there's a reason why I put them there, and it's emotions. The emotions of me leaving Japan, what this means. And it's not straightforward. It's not like, yeah, Japan is fucked up, I want to go back. It's not black and white, it's a mixed bag. And this will be what I talk about in the next video.